Hey everyone, this is Pastor Dane Johansson from Agros Reformed Baptist Church in Mesa, Arizona. Today I wanted to look at a few of my Greek New Testaments that kind of trace the story of my journey learning Biblical Greek or Koine Greek, and just kind of walk through them. So I have a few examples here. I have many more, but these are, the ones I'm showing here are ones that I've used extensively as my daily reading or whatever. This was the first Greek New Testament that I ever got that I really spent any time with, and I think the first one I ever got at all. I was actually given this by a friend of mine, John Kite. So if you still watch my channel, John, shout out to you for that. This is a Reader's Greek New Testament, the second edition by Zondervan. It's in this pleather. I think they call it Italian duotone. Let's see if you can see that. Yeah, Italian duotone. As you can see, the cover, it used to be kind of a dark red, but with all this brown. The cover just went to tatters. I was really hard on this. I stuck it in my bags and just really didn't take very good care of it. But I mean, what's cool about this, it's super flexible. It's pleather, it's not real leather, but it's super flexible. And so this is my first one that I ever got. I was learning Greek with this, so I have some of the prepositions there. This is the second edition, and one I really started to learn Greek with, try to read Greek with. I have some paradigms here, some really basic things, very, very basic things here. What's cool about this as a reader is it has the text of, basically it's kind of like people say the Scrivener is a reconstructed Greek text in the sense of they took the KJV and Scrivener then found the Greek readings underneath the King James translation. Similar way, the Zondervan readers did the same thing with the NIV. All the textual choices of the NIV translators, they put into Greek. They found the Greek readings for it. People have complained about this layout quite a bit, or this print that's kind of slanted and a little bit difficult to read. I never really had any problem with it. The words at the bottom are helpful, but they're kind of difficult in the sense of they're not like in a column, just kind of in there. But I like this paper. It's just kind of standard Bible paper, so I liked that. A lot of Greek New Testaments are a little bit thicker paper. At the time, I really enjoyed having this with thin paper. So here's the ribbon. It's held up fine. As you can see, I was taking notes and learning grammar and used as my daily reader for a long time as well. And this is just a Bic pen and it's kind of your standard highlighter here. Put notes in there. So I used this for quite some time and really enjoyed it. I think I got a good grasp of Greek using it. Tried to highlight some of those so they're easier to find, the definitions at the bottom. And this is cool in that it has a index or a small lexicon at the back with all the words of the Greek New Testament that appear 50 times or more contained in it. So basically if you've used Mounts to learn Greek with, or to learn Greek grammar with rather, then it's the same words you required to learn in there are given for you in the back, and after that it's just maps. But overall it held up really well. As the cover started to kind of fray, I just ripped it, so that's kind of what that is there, but overall it held up. Then after I had got a better foundation in Greek, I went back to this as my daily reader. But anyway, that was my first Bible, the Greek New Testament, that I really made use of and started to make progress in Greek with, and then used extensively afterwards as well. And then when the third edition came out, John Kite, the same one who sent me that one originally as a gift, he then, I purchased this from him. He had rebound the third edition in this supple cowhide. Really, really nicely done. So he bound this for me, put in 2 ribbons, added art gilding to the pages. So it was really nice. I think it's a pleather liner. It looks like real leather. I mean, if I didn't know any different, I'd be like, that's real leather. The outside is cowhide. So that was really nice. And the text you can see here is a little bit more crisp. Let me see if I can compare the two. See, that's a little bit more bold and straight. It's a little bit more italicized almost. So anyway, this never really became a main Bible for me, but it was a reader, and it's a really, really beautiful edition. Still on the topic of readers, and the next one in line would be this UBS, Greek New Testament. It's the reader's edition, so it doesn't have any of the textual notes in it. But you can see this thing. I used this a lot when I was taking Greek at Puritan Reform Theological Seminary. I was taking their online Greek course. This was the New Testament that I used. This is the New Testament I would read frequently. So anyone who has a UBS knows this coloring here. It starts to wear away from your hands as you have it open. You're holding it and carrying it. So the page, I just took some wear from where my fingers would be. And then the classic fraying ribbon that all of the Bible Society New Testaments have. So in here, the same kind of thing of some helps, a couple of paradigms. But yeah, I mean, this was really the Bible that I read a whole lot of this daily. And this is much better than the Zondervan in the sense that it's laid out in columns for you. So if you go to, here we go. This is John chapter 1. So as I was learning all the grammar, what was cool about the professor there is he just took us through the first couple of chapters of John and taught us the grammar as it came up. It's kind of an inductive thing. It was still very grammar, translation heavy, but it was also inductive in that you're working through the text. So I had all that noted up, and I tried to learn some endings by doing this kind of thing. I think I did some more of that in Romans. Yeah, got creative with coloring and things like that to help me learn the endings of verbs and participles and things like that. Anyway, basic. If you have this, it's a really, really good tool, but also has I think it's a little bit more expanded dictionary in the back here. It has maps as well. So anyway, that was one I used for quite some time. As you can tell, it took some wear. And then with that, it's the exact same Bible here, except it's Crossway's edition. Crossway and UBS teamed up to make this edition, and so it's the same exact reader's Bible, except it's in top grain cowhide, not leather lined. But this was my main Bible for a long time as well. I preached from this, used as my daily reader. So it's the exact same layout, except the paper's much thicker and has gilt edges. Yeah, this was a really nice Bible. I learned a lot of Greek reading those Bibles that I showed you, especially this one. I preached from this one, like I said, to challenge myself. Not having any other aids, I would just preach from it and translate on the fly. I don't do that anymore, but I don't think there's a need for it. I think it was kind of youthful. I just learned Greek zeal kind of thing, so. And then in that same readers category, you have that same Zondervan second edition, but it's a readers Hebrew and Greek Bible by Zondervan. I think this is called their Italian premium leather or something. But again, it's just the same exact text here, and then they have the Hebrew in the back. Well, in the front for Hebrew. So Genesis starts on this side, and New Testament starts over there. And I still use this for Hebrew reading, as I'm trying to improve my Hebrew in Jonah here I was reading the other day. Still use this. This is really nice. It's just pretty big. Now into some diglots and some other tools I've used extensively as well. For another Greek course, I was required to buy this, the 28th edition of the Nestle Aland. Obviously, if you know anything about me or my channel, I don't use this or recommend it at all anymore. I recommend the TR as the true preserved Word of God, and not these other Greek New Testaments that I view to be corrupted. But nonetheless, I learned a lot of Greek using these. You can see it also has lots of wear from holding it. These things don't hold up very well. But this was my daily reader also for a while, as I was going to move to this at some point after the Reader's Edition. This was my daily Bible for a long time as well. But, you know, it's got beautiful text, beautiful paper. And this one has a dictionary in the back, as well as the index for all the manuscripts and everything. So it's I can say this about the NA28. I still use it a lot because it is a treasure house of information. It is just a wealth of information on textual issues and manuscripts and everything else. But yeah, this was my daily Bible for quite some time as well. Read a lot in John in this. I was first learning Greek, and even still now, I read John over and over and over and over again, just to get the feel of Greek and get in my head. There we have John 3:16. Utos gari yapisen o theos ton kosmon ostetonion ton monogenia doken inapaso pistevon isafton mia politel kisonionion. That's interesting. They don't have ostetonion aftu ton monogene. They just have osteton ion ton monogene. I didn't realize there was that textual variant there. That's interesting. But anyway, used that for some time. And then I got the Diglot version. It has bigger print, and it had the ESV next to it, which was the Bible translation I was using at the time. So this was perfect as a daily reader. This obviously has seen better days as well. Starting to turn brown from the hands and dirty and ripped. But yeah, this was my daily reader. I also preached from this, having the ESV there. But yeah, I did a lot of extensive reading and study in this. This was a fun Bible for some time. I learned a lot of Greek using this as well. Took pretty extensive notes here in Luke. So I was learning more about Lucan prose and reading the writings of Luke and Acts. He's definitely a little bit more difficult to read. So this is just a standard yellow highlighter. Actually, I think it might be a yellow marker, and then standard Bic pen. So the pages held up, they're thin, but they held up. You can see how they're bleeding through now, so I wouldn't recommend using it. See how it's kind of corrupting the page there. See that? It's not the camera doing that, it's actually like, looks like it's glowing in the dark or something. So I would use proper pens when marking your Bible pages. But served its purpose. I just needed a pen. I grabbed whatever was near me and used it. I think I have even some sermon outlines in here in John, 1 John. Some pretty extensive work in here. I was preaching through 1 John. So same information in the back as the other one. That one served me pretty well for a while as well. And then moving on to this one. This one's one of my favorites. I'm sad that I don't use it anymore. Basically what this is, I had this rebound. You can see that there's like 3 different colored pages. That's because this front is the UBS 4th edition. That is a dictionary, and this is Metzger's 2nd edition textual commentary that I had redone in goatskin. by a binder here in town with 3 ribbons, and it was actually given to me by the wife of a elder in the First Reformed church I went to, who was an amazing scholar in Greek and taught me a lot of Greek and encouraged me in Greek. So this was his Bible, his New Testament, and his wife gave it to me after he passed. So it's an amazing gift. I didn't mark in this at all because he didn't mark in it, so I viewed it as kind of something I want to do. If he didn't mark in it, then I didn't want to mark in it. But I read this for a while every day until I switched over to the TR, and I stopped using this, and it just sits on the shelf, except for when I need it for something like textual commentary here in the back by Metzger. So I had them bind all of those together in one volume. This is a very special one to me, though, and it's obviously, as you can tell, the leather's beautiful. It's just masterful work they did at this place. Now moving on to some of the other stuff, some of my TR stuff. This one has seen better days too. This was one of the first ones I got to as well when I first started learning Greek, but I didn't show it yet because I figured it'd go better with the other ones. I got this in 2012 at the Jordan River, actually, but it started falling apart, and I've taped it and glued it, and sometimes the glue and the tape made it rip worse. So if you don't know what you're doing, probably just leave it alone. But I read extensively in this, and you can tell I mostly read Greek in here because it's all dirty where the Greek is and clean where the Hebrew is. But I still use this for Hebrew sometimes, and still sits right next to my desk, so I pull it down for Greek as well. I was preaching through 1 John. I transitioned over the TR. This is the Bible I was studying in for 1 John. I did a lot of reading and study from this. I still do every once in a while. This Bible served me well. It's by Trinitarian Bible Society. Again, most of the damage here sustained was from me not taking care or abusing it, or when trying to repair it, repairing it incorrectly. So had I not done the errors that I did do with it, I think this thing would probably still look like the day I bought it, except for some rubbing from my hands. So anyway, added ribbons to it too. That also weakened the binding. So I added in quite a few ribbons. And then I had this rebound last year. I've reviewed this on my page as well, my YouTube. This is River Grain calfskin here. Rebound by the same people who did the 3-in-1 that I showed a minute ago. So you can see that it's just beautiful calfskin leather. What this is a Stephanus 1550 interlinear. So just getting up to speed on something, say I want to do like a very extended reading, I'll read in here, just so I'm not having to look up things quite as much. I just have the English right there for me, and then the King James in the margin, and then there's some variant readings here at the bottom as well if I need them. But I use this mainly as just to get up to speed with reading, and once I've done my chapters for the day or whatever, and I still want to just read a big chunk, I'll just turn to this and read. And this is an old volume that I then had rebound. Paper's phenomenal. And this as well. And this one has in the back a lexicon. And then after the lexicon is a section on synonyms. So New Testament synonyms, got a little section of synonyms here in the back. So you have, polemos, machi for battle, spidis, kophinis, all this kind of stuff. So good information. This is a great addition to learn a lot of Greek, honestly. If you just read an interlinear and use an interlinear correctly, you'll learn tons of Greek if you use it correctly. So anyway, that was that one. And then I turned to this volume, which this Greek New Testament, I don't know if you can see it anymore, it wore away from my hands, and then the other abuse it suffered. It says Ikini Diatheke, and it used to have the TBS logo there. So this is the TBS Textus Receptus Scrivener edition that I kept the calfskin cover, but then I added my own liner. I did a rebind on it, but it would have held up perfectly, and it was holding up perfectly until when I went to Cyprus, Stolkipro. I went to Cyprus. I dropped it in a pond and had to tape it up while I was there, so the pages are all coming out, and I didn't use the best glue. It was fine for not being dropped in ponds, but after I dropped it in a pond twice, didn't really hold up. Then I still was using it the rest of the time. I didn't really let it dry out the way it was supposed to, because we were, evangelizing with it to Greek-speaking Cypriots, and they understood the Kini Greek just fine, as if like it was just Greek to them. They didn't have to think about it very much. But anyway, this obviously is not really functional anymore. It's all crispy and ripped in a bunch of places. But that's just because of the abuse it suffered. But even then, I wanted to show you a couple things here. Even then, this was my daily reader for probably most of 2019 and most of 18 as well. And that's notes and pencil right there underneath. So in between the words, that's pencil. Even after being fully submerged twice, you still see it. And these darker markings, like here, where I would explain passages in Greek, are Pigma Micron. So anyway, kudos to TBS and Micron for making such amazing stuff. So I rebound this and used the same cover, but replaced the liner, and then added art gilding. So it was blue under gold at one point until I dropped it in the water. So that was a big bummer, but yeah. So then I replaced it with the same edition, and this is what I use now. So I've been using this for, see if I have a born on date, July 2019. So right after I got back from Cyprus, I dropped that. After I dropped this one, and then bought this one. And it's doing the same kind of thing. From holding it all the time, it's starting to wear out. Ikini Diatheke, TBS logo is basically gone. This is beautiful Mariva calfskin. I'm not kind to my Bibles, so all that wrinkling and everything you see is due to me abusing these things and folding them back on themselves. This has held up phenomenally well. It's starting to pull apart here. It's pulling apart here. And again, just due to me being rough and folding it back and everything. This is the Scrivener edition they published. What printing is this? Youngblood did this in 5th month of 2016, 3rd day. So this was printed. It's printed and bound to there. This is with my daily reader for quite some time. Gilding's holding up good. It's getting your normal scratches, and it's getting dirty, obviously. My thumb is tracing across the leaves. But what I use this right now for is I read it every day, and then also do some study like this and give myself some notes and parsing and stuff in between. So then I go back through and reread it a few more times, and I know it all. I don't have to keep reading. I've learned all that stuff now. I don't have to go back and keep looking things up. So I've kind of combined interlinear, reader's edition, parsing guide, all of it into one. I know you can do that on digital, but I'm a dinosaur. I like holding something in my hand and having it and reading it this way. So anyway, going
through and just learning any word I don't know. I'm marking and then rereading over and over, even if I know the word but I'm uncertain on it. As in, I couldn't just give you a definition right there and then, or parsing. I'll then put the parsing and definition and then go back over and reread it and listen to it a bunch more times till it's in there. That's just all pencil markings. So anyway, this is my daily reader now, and preach from it. Well, it sits on the pulpit while I preach, and read it daily, prepare sermons with it, teach from it, teach others Greek with it. So this is my daily friend here. When it falls apart, I'll get another TBS. If these things hold together, nobody's business. Unfortunately, I've abused all the editions I've gotten, so it's hard to put like a real test to it because every single one of them has been, thoroughly abused. But I've studied in depth pastoral epistles in this, sections in Corinthians and Ephesians. There's Ephesians 1. Anyway, this is just a phenomenal Bible. So this is my daily Bible now. This is the one I use and read and pray over, and meditate on, prepare sermons with, preach from. If I go back to a Greek-speaking place, this is the one I'll evangelize from. Hopefully hand it down to my kids. But, yeah, this is a little bit of my story learning Greek and my tools and my friends along the way. So hopefully that's been interesting, at least, if not helpful, to at least see the wear on some of these things. I know some people do the really cool Bible reviews where you review Bibles that you've used. Matthew Everhard, Pastor Matthew Everhard does that, and a few other brothers and sisters on here have done that on YouTube. So anyway, hopefully that gives you a good idea of kind of how these hold up, and have been interesting in seeing some of these and hearing my story about learning Greek. So thank you guys, and God bless you.